Grandad, who's that?
Oh, Mark Scaife, one of the most successful touring car drivers in Australian history. A Holden legend.
What about him, Grandad?
Murph, top driver. Won his fair share at Bathurst too.
And who's this?
I really know who that is. Oh, look over here. Craig Lowndes. Always had a smile on his face.
Here's news from Honda. They've just been awarded 2004's Greenest Auto Manufacturer.
Tonight, the Bali Nine marched to the prosecutor's office. But what was the devastating news that confronted them there?
Will you do it again?
Yeah, I'd do it again. An Australian man and his 2 daughters now confirmed killed in a Greek jet crash. Australian diggers honour their fallen mates and celebrate an end to bloodshed.
I had about 6 girls hanging around me giving me kisses.
Good evening and welcome. Sandra Sully with you for 10's Late News. Also tonight, publicity seekers get their second of fame on Big Brother. But it wasn't enough to mar a magic moment for the twins who stole the show. But first tonight, the Bali Nine all face death by firing squad. The suspected drug smugglers have been formally charged. Their defence team's now trying to prove that their clients are victims of drug lords.
After languishing in cells for more than 4 months without charge, the accused Australians leave for the prosecutor's office to learn what their lawyers must fight. Charged under the most feared section of Indonesia's drug laws, the 8 men and 1 woman are officially staring at the death penalty. Renee Lawrence, who has attempted suicide, not helping her case.
Will you do it again? You had your time out again, what did you do?
What if we still got, if it was the same position? Yeah, I'd do it again.
29-year-old Martin Stevens' parents have organised a new lawyer, the same man who represented Bali bomber Amrozi.
I'm a professional. I'm just like a taxi driver, right? I take whoever on board, you know, as long as, you know, agree on a fare.
He insists his new client was not the ringleader and doesn't deserve death.
From what I know, he's just a courier. He's just a mule.
The lawyer admits he's only been involved in 2 or 3 drug cases. Convicted drug trafficker Chappelle Corby's junior lawyer is defending one of the accused. Defence teams say their strategy will be to try and convince judges their clients were the victims in a drug trafficking ring and ordered to smuggle more than 8 kilograms of heroin from Bali to Australia. 7 separate trial dates will be set within weeks. Martine Griffiths, 10 News.
There's anger tonight over a possible cut in the jail term of Bali bomber Abu Bakar Bashir. He's in line for leniency from the government to mark Indonesian Independence Day. But Chappelle Corby misses out.
88 Australians were killed and hundreds injured in the Bali bombings. The man responsible, Abu Bakar Bashir, jailed for just 30 months. It's understood that sentence could now be slashed to mark the 60th anniversary of Indonesian independence.
I'm appalled. The government's response thus far is that we should be grateful that he's in prison and that they're pleased that he's in prison. Well, that pleasure is going to be very short-lived.
Brian Deegan's son Josh died in the blasts. He says Abu Bakar Bashir is currently only serving 6 days in jail for each person killed.
To think that a person that was inextricably linked with his murder may receive but 2.5 days imprisonment for his death alone, it's gut-wrenching.
He wants Canberra to intervene.
And our ambassador is taking this matter up with the Indonesians, so we'll get a report back from him in time.
Labor's Foreign Affairs spokesman Kevin Rudd says any reduction is even more appalling given Chappelle Corby's 20-year jail term. Premier Mike Rann has written to the Indonesian ambassador.
His current sentence is quite frankly an insult, and this is adding insult to injury.
In his letter, the Premier warns the Indonesian ambassador that reducing Abu Bakar Bashir's sentence would not reflect well on Indonesia's legal system or the government's resolve in fighting terrorism. He asks the ambassador to convey his protest to the Indonesian president. Esther Lindstrom, 10 News.
An historic day for the Indonesian province of Aceh. After 30 years of fighting and more recently negotiating, the Free Aceh rebels have finally reached an agreement with Jakarta. The treaty signed tonight sets up an amnesty to disarm rebels while restricting government troop activity in Aceh. It will be monitored by the European Union and Asia. More than 15,000 have died since the separatist fighting began 30 years ago. An Australian man and his 2 children are among the 121 killed in an aeroplane crash near Athens. The Department of Foreign Affairs confirming tonight a 39-year-old South Australian had been killed along with his 2 daughters aged 9 and 10, but it did not release any names. More details are beginning to emerge tonight of the terrifying final moments on the doomed jet. A sudden loss in cabin pressure is being blamed for the death of all on board, many of them children.
The devastation was all but complete. A tail fin and wings, the only recognisable remnants of the Boeing 737, which slammed into a mountain north of Athens and burst into flames. After frantically searching for survivors, rescue crews are now scouring the scene for remains. There were simply no passengers left to save from the Helios Airways flight, leaving Cyprus bound for Prague, packed with holidaymakers. Among the 121 dead, 48 children. Distraught families are being asked to provide DNA samples to identify victims. A text message sent to one relative minutes before the crash revealed the terror on board. "Farewell, cousin, we're going to die," it said. "We're cold, the pilot is blue." He was slumped over his seat. 2 fighter jet pilots, scrambled after radio contact was lost, also saw oxygen masks dangling inside the cabin and 2 passengers wrestling at the controls in a last-ditch bid for survival. The plane's 2 black box recorders have been recovered. Terrorism is being ruled out. Investigators believe a sudden drop in cabin pressure, perhaps due to a faulty air conditioner, is to blame, with speculation that most on board were dead before the plane on autopilot came down. Similar problems caused the crash that killed US golfer Payne Stewart in 1999. A doomed ghost plane also coming down in far north Queensland 5 years ago after flying for 5 hours from Perth with all on board unconscious due to a lack of oxygen. 3 days of official mourning have been declared for this, the worst airline disaster in Greek history. Deborah Knight, 10 News.
A frank admission by the federal government tonight, the controversial workplace changes may not be up to scratch. It's agreed to a Senate inquiry amid new claims holiday entitlements and paid sick leave are under threat.
The unions have begun directly lobbying key senators to stall the Howard government's workplace revolution. Democrat Andrew Murray heard the fears of a group of workers for their pay and conditions.
We're prospering as a nation is what they keep saying. So why do we need to lower people's standards of living?
Trading off holidays, paid sick leave and even time to attend funerals is on the agenda of a government website promoting Australian workplace agreements. But the minister says that can happen already. He accuses the ACTU of a sinister scare campaign and says this statement by Sharon Burrow last week proves it.
I need a mum or a dad of someone who's been seriously injured or killed. That would be fantastic.
How low do we get a campaign running when you have someone saying that, we need to find the family of someone who's been killed or injured?
But Ms Burrows says such a family had already offered itself because of its outrage.
Look, I'm not much worried what he thinks about me or indeed union officials standing up for working Australia.
Another key senator, Barnaby Joyce, says the Nationals too have concerns. The government has 100 people working on drafting the workplace reform legislation. The minister admits it's not an easy task and mistakes can be made, but he has a remedy.
It's a complex piece of legislation and Senate inquiries can be useful in terms of detail of things that, may have been overlooked.
It will have to be a quick inquiry. Parliament won't see the bills for at least another month and Christmas is the deadline.
This is a government that is very happy to have its proposals looked at carefully, but not, of course, made the subject of deliberate obstruction.
Paul Bongiorno, 10 News.
There is a boost tonight for the federal government's plans to sell Telstra. Outspoken National Senator Barnaby Joyce has welcomed a $3 billion package to improve Telstra services in the bush. Cabinet is expected to finalise the plans tomorrow, including up to $1 billion for broadband internet services in rural and regional areas. 60 years ago, World War II ended in the Pacific, closing a bloody chapter of our history. The victory marked today with commemorations and celebrations across the nation and the world.
A flypast marking an historic victory, a march past of flags representing our allies who helped defeat the Japanese. The memories of that welcome day 60 years ago still vivid.
I had about 6 girls hanging around me giving me kisses. I brought back so many memories, of the mates we lost and the friendships we made.
Prime Minister John Howard paying tribute to this great generation of men and women.
It knew what awaited them. It knew what hell on earth could be.
40,000 Australians gave their lives in what was a brutal and dirty campaign.
Although we're old men now and we don't cry anymore. Except over a beer, probably.
Off our frontline city of Darwin, a sailing salute from HMAS Manura. And above a bush strip, a flyby from a modern Hornet and from Aircraft of the Day, saluting veterans of 87 Squadron. In Japan, the memories are also raw. Prime Minister Koizumi apologising again for the atrocities committed and pledging never to forget the terrible lessons of war. In New York, that memorable kiss which came to symbolise the end of the war, reenacted.
I kissed her, and I'm glad that I did. She's a wonderful lady.
Greg Turnbull, 10 News.
Stay with the late news. After the break, how a community rallied when nature threatened to tear apart a seafaring family.
The mother and another adult and possibly a sub-adult is out there.
How an inspirational boy has put his life back together, one step at a time.
Hello, camera.
And later in the news, who was behind the Big Brother security breach that threatened to mar tonight's magic moment for the Logan twins? Fishermen, surfers and police have helped marine experts save a baby humpback whale stranded off the Gold Coast. It's thought the young calf became separated from its mother after they were chased by sharks. Teams of volunteers pushed the small whale back to deeper water several times, but it kept returning.
The mother and another adult and possibly a sub-adult is out there just beyond the Gold Coast.
After a day-long battle, the waves finally subsided and the calf was reunited with its mother. It's either one of the country's biggest art swindles or a big mistake. An artist is accused of stealing original works valued at more than $1 million, but he says he paid for them and they're not worth that much.
It's already being labelled Australia's biggest art heist. More than 300 allegedly stolen works seized from the home of Brisbane artist Dr. Richard Dunlop.
So the first that I knew that some of my works were taken from my studio was back in 1994.
Police tipped off after Dr. Dunlop tried to give away the paintings, etchings and drawings to a charity. He called in a valuer, who then contacted the original artists for authentication. Artists like Alison Reynolds, whose works vanished from her Brisbane studio. Dr. Dunlop doesn't deny possessing them, but says he bought them legitimately and that their value is highly overestimated.
They're worth approximately $600 now. So the notion of the greatest art heist of the century is rather flattering.
The accused art thief says some of the works found in his possession were gifts.
I was often encouraged to take works by other people in lieu of payment.
But it's not just Alison Reynolds' paintings. Police have recovered up to $1 million worth of work belonging to some of the biggest players in the Australian art community. Dr. Dunlop will appear in court next month. Brett LaFrance, 10 News.
It's been an important day for a little boy who lost his lower leg after a drunk driver crashed a car through his primary school. He's walked unassisted for the first time since the accident. Doctors heartened by his determination.
The shot for goal may have fallen short of the mark, but Sabi Mashid's courage and spirit are nothing short of inspirational. The spirited 6-year-old on the basketball court after trying on his artificial leg for the first time today. And he's already looking forward to trying his hand at some other favourite pastimes.
Soccer, footy, cricket, that's all.
And according to physiotherapist Michelle Watson, activities like this will form an important part of his rehabilitation.
We'll get him, you know, running, doing different games that a kid his age would like to do, so playing basketball, kicking the soccer ball, make sure that he's safe.
The lower part of Sabi's leg was amputated after being crushed when a car driven by a drunk driver ploughed into his primary school. Last week, Sudanese refugee Tarban Ghani pleaded guilty after returning a blood alcohol reading of 0.175, more than 3 times the legal limit. But for Sabi, it's all about moving forward. While he's had enough of hospital, it did have some redeeming features.
I hate the videos. I like the McDonald's.
Despite the diet, Sabi's progress so far is described as remarkable.
Because he's got this far so quickly, his, I guess, rehab would be reasonably short.
Hello, camera.
Luke Waters, 10 News.
Stay on 10 when we come back.
That's so hot.
Australia's 50 top bachelors named. But who's the hot favourite? Then in sports tonight, Olympic medalist Jeff Hugel gives up the high life to get back in the pool.
What happens when Britain's most conservative Institute of Music meets Gene Simmons?
God, I'm good.
8 o'clock Wednesday. Music lessons will never be the same again. Rock School premieres 8 o'clock Wednesday on 10.
Seriously.
Red Rooster has taken all the freshest lemons for our delicious new lemon pepper chicken. Try it now in a quarter with chips or salad, or a whole chicken, only at Red Rooster.
Another Holden victory here this afternoon.
Hey, Scafie, is this the special edition Commodore equip?
Yeah, it is.
Is Holden's new 5-year warranty?
Yep, with a 5-year warranty.
Over $5,000 worth of extras?
Yep, $5,000 worth of
only $33,490.
Yeah, how do you guys know so much? Because this is our car. Yours is over there.
You can't beat the value-packed Commodore equip, now with $2,000 worth of free fuel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Call 1300 55 7799 to receive a free guest pass for 2 to any Fitness First club.
We've been waiting for so long for the sunshine, for the sunshine. We've been living for so long without sunshine in our lives. Tell me, where is the sunshine?
There are rules that affect what you see on television. These rules cover program classifications. When you see certain programs, advertising, as well as the presentation of news and current affairs, they are part of the code of practice for commercial television. If you'd like a copy of the code, visit our website for more information, or write or call us at Free TV Australia.
You're watching the late news. Big Brother wrapped up tonight in spectacular style, and the last contestants are free after 100 days in the house.
Thanks, Sandra. Well, yes, it's all over here, bar the enormous amount of partying that's going to be going on most of the night. They're tearing down the sets because Big Brother 2005 is finished. But it was not without controversy. Just as Gretel Colleen was about to announce this year's winner, two intruders jumped the stage looking for their 15 seconds of fame.
And now it's time. It's a shock when something like that happens. One of them ran into me and but the other part of me is just so angry. I think, how dare you try and ruin our dramatic moment?
I thought it was just part of the show, and I was about to shake his hand, and then I saw the Ollie crash tackle. Yeah, crash tackle. I didn't know what he was doing, but well, good on him. You got his 30 seconds of. I don't know, but yeah.
I thought he was doing interpretive dance.
I thought yeah.
The intruders, only one of whom actually made it onto television, are members of a band looking to cash in on the publicity generated by Big Brother. But tonight's winners, 22-year-old twins Greg and David Matthew, weren't going to let a little thing like that get in the way of their celebrations.
The winner of Big Brother 2005 is the Logans!
The twins beat 27-year-old journalist Tim Brunero into the top spot in one of the closest votes yet, 55% to 45%. And they take away $836,000. The only decision, how to split it. And the boys did it the only way they know how. Paper, scissors, rock.
Okay, 1, 2, rock. Oh, it feels fantastic actually. It is a very good feeling. A little bit shocked, but it's all slowly sinking in at the moment. Slowly.
An announcement will be made in the not-too-distant future as to whether Big Brother will be back in 2006. My money says it will be. Back to you, Sandra.
Angela Bishop there on the Gold Coast for tonight's Big Brother finale. Well, time to check finance, and at ComSec tonight with the latest, Jackie Maddock. Jackie, our very own Macquarie Bank setting its sights on the London Stock Exchange. Tell us more.
Well, that's certainly the way things seem to be unfolding. Now, Macquarie Bank today advised the Australian Stock Exchange that it is considering making a bid. Now, it's no secret the London Stock Exchange has been circled by a number of companies in recent years, but Macquarie has stressed that any talk of a possible bid is only in the early stages. But when the news broke today, investors didn't seem to mind, sending Macquarie Bank shares up to 3-week highs.
And Jackie, gold prices are soaring.
Money is being poured into the metal, Sandra. It's seen as a safe option as those record oil prices continue to rattle investors around the world. Now, at week's end, gold was trading in highs not seen since December, and that's great news for our gold miners. And when you consider those record oil prices are pushing up our energy heavyweights, the Australian commodity market looks to be in good shape.
Thank you, Jackie. ComSec's Jackie Maddock there. Well, let's take a closer look at the market now. Despite spending most of the day in positive territory, the Australian share market's main index closed down 6 points. The major banks were the big negative. The Commonwealth leading the way, shedding $1.43 after going ex-dividend. However, energy and resource stocks generally held firm, pushed by continuing high crude oil prices. The Aussie dollar, well, it's buying 77.2 American cents, while gold is trading at 443 US dollars an ounce. The women of Australia are lining up to cast their votes for the country's best Bachelor. There are 50 to choose from, including sports stars, journalists, actors and musicians.
Unveiled in the flesh, Australia's most eligible bachelors. 16 of Clio magazine's top 50 sexy singles, hand-picked out of the hundreds who were nominated across the country.
They're so hot. I love them.
Now the hotties are in fierce competition to be labelled the 2005 Bachelor of the Year.
All my life people have said you're good looking, and it's more than that, it's the personality.
But some finalists are a little more modest about all the female attention, more worried about the opposition.
It looks like I've got some pretty stiff competition this year, but who knows? I've got a lot of friends out there that are voting for me, I hope.
I certainly don't think I've got the looks or the chiselled abs.
The hot favourite today was home and away heartthrob Chris Hemsworth, who had the ladies lining up.
Last year's winner was Australian Idol host Andrew G, but this year the judging panel insists it's not just about who's got the goods in the looks department, but rather who has the total package.
Things have to be, you know, kind, cute, smart, sensitive. Funny was a really big one. Being able to give a good massage came in quite high.
The public will have the chance to cast their vote with the winner announced next month. Ebony Ferranda, 10 News.
The news on the national weather is next, and then it's the latest from the Sports Tonight desk with our very own Bachelor of Sport, Ryan Phelan. Ryan, how are the Aussies going in the cricket tonight?
Well, Sandra, the Aussies have just about as much chance of winning that test as I do of winning Cleo Bachelor of the Year, but it's looking as though the match is heading for a draw, but that may be a good result. The Aussies are aiming at 423 and the chase isn't looking so strong. Can Steve Elkington break the Aussie drought in golf's majors? He's one stroke off the lead in the US PGA. What shot. And groovy, baby. The Sharks turned back the clock in the NRL. The day's sport is next.
Now to the latest on the national weather front, and the satellite is showing thick cloud around the New South Wales, Victorian border districts, with lighter cover around South Australia, Victoria and Tasmania, and along parts of the Queensland coast. On the synoptic chart, a cold front and trough is sweeping into the southwest as the high pressure system settles over the southeast. So tomorrow, the Bureau says we should see a few clearing showers in Cairns. A mostly sunny day for both Brisbane and Sydney. It'll be fine after a frosty start in Canberra. Clearing showers tipped for both Hobart and Melbourne. Increasing sunshine is on the way in Adelaide tomorrow. Possible thunderstorms forecast for Perth, then fine conditions and sunny in the Alice and Darwin. Yet another tropical storm is lashing southern parts of East China's Fujian province. Tropical storm Sanvu dumped up to 20 centimetres of rain in some areas, causing flooding, falling trees and landslides. At least 300,000 people were evacuated as hurricane-force winds ripped thousands of houses apart. A complete hillside collapsed as police and emergency teams battle to cope with the extent of the damage. Sanvu is the 10th such storm to lash the area this year. That is the latest from the 10 News Centre for this Monday, August the 15th, and the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II. Stick around. Sports Tonight is next. I'm Sandra Sully from the team. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Here's news from Honda. They've just been awarded 2004's Greenest Auto Manufacturer.
This is just the speed of
With 1 hour of local news, who makes 10 News first at 5?